Come to Helmuth Ford, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Hi, this is Stacy from Shuttler Insurance Services. Come see me on the east side of the square in Sigourney for all your insurance needs.
The Keswick Tavern in Keswick, Iowa is the place to be this Saturday, September 20th during Keswick Harvest Day. From 11 to 4, stop by for lunch with the T&T special brought back from Teton Tobes. Dr. Spud's food truck will also be on hand with acoustic music by Adam Whitehead from 1 to 4. And from 8 p.m. to midnight, the band Full Circle will be playing at the Keswick Tavern. Plus all kinds of activities throughout the day in Keswick, Iowa for Keswick Harvest Day. And fireworks at dark. Stop by the Keswick Tavern this Saturday during Keswick Harvest Day. The Watch Your Opera House in Watch Your, Iowa presents Bobby Simpkins' Elvis Tribute live this Saturday, September 20th from 7 to 9 p.m. Tickets are $25 for adults, $12.50 for 18 and under. Get your tickets at watchyyouroperahouse.org or at the door. Bobby Simpkins pays tribute to Elvis's great voice and generous personality and has won many awards with his Elvis Tribute. It's Bobby Simpkins' Elvis Tribute live this Saturday night starting at 7 p.m. at the Watch Your Opera House.
Please.
Schultz,
Present.
Clark,
Here.
Conrad,
Present.
McLaughlin, present. Ghostbaker,
Present.
Lentz, here.
Approval or amendment to the tentative agenda. We are removing item E under additional city business number 4. So 4E will be removed.
So I make a motion to approve the tentative agenda.
Second.
Schultz,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad,
Yes.
McLaughlin, yes. Ghostbaker,
Yes.
Lentz, yes.
Consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless a request is made prior to voting.
Can we vote on B separate?
B is separate.
Same here. Make a motion to approve consent agenda items A and then C through I.
Second.
Schultz,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad,
Yes.
McLaughlin, yes. Ghostbaker,
Yes.
Lentz,
Yes.
Okay, now motion to approve the council accounts payable claims, item B.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda on B.
Second.
Schultz,
Abstain.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad,
Yes.
McLaughlin, yes. Ghostbaker,
Yes.
Lentz,
Abstain.
Public hearings, I show nothing listed there. Additional city business. Discussion with Kevin Hatfield, Sigourney School Superintendent, about the SCSD bond processing and referendum communication. Kevin?
Yeah, thank you all. Appreciate the opportunity to be here with everyone. Thanks for to Gary and the mayor for allowing this to happen, and appreciate the work that all of you do. We have, many of you know, we've been working really hard for the last, probably since I arrived here, talking about our facilities and some of the shape they're in. We really went through we have phase 1 of our work, which was actually looking at all the district, but ended up where the elementary school was rising to the top of all that about 2.5 years ago, because the boiler was failing, lots of things, no hot water, no electricity, all those things. So we worked together as a board, we borrowed against our saved dollars, so we have no tax increase at all. We had a $6.4 million project. Bids came in decent, kind of helping to the task on getting things done correctly. We ended up under budget. One of the few superintendents can say that we finished under budget, and we had enough of our contingency dollars to go ahead and fix up some other things in the schools. So happy about that work, and that was phase 1. Phase 2 that we've kind of thought about over time was, what work really needs to get done at a 65-year-old junior senior high school building. Probably knew some of these things, some of you probably been in there years ago, and it still looks the same. I actually had someone tell me in the tours different times, say, gosh, Mr. Evans, that's the same classroom I was in 1972, it's the same units, and there's still water leaking on that floor. So that's kind of, yes, and so we do have many things. So let me just work through it quickly. I do have to go to Farm Bureau tonight, so I'm going to be rolling through and getting questions, but the council members have handouts. So we went through a petition process. The petition process required us to have 88 signatures by law based on the last 25% of your last general election for the school board to move forward, and we had 173, almost double the number of signatures. And those signatures were really just telling us not yes or no on a bond. And by the way, I'm not here to tell you yes or no on a bond either. I'm just here to share facts with you that we've laid out as a school board. But that told the board that, hey, we can move forward to put this before the public. So this is it. 73 school districts calling for an election on Tuesday, May 4th, 2025, asking voters to consider a single ballot. If you go over $2.70, it's 2 questions. We're going to stay under that. We're right at $2.70. So it's a single question to authorize general obligation bonds not to exceed $9.9 million to address the facilities at Sigourney Junior Senior High School. And I'll go into what those themes are and how we arrived at those themes for us. So, thank you. And so our intent, the school board's intent, is to bring forward a proposal that reflects a thoughtful balance of community's priorities, facility needs, and a fiscally responsible approach. Like all of you, my own house, they start aging, there's a lot of issues, and many people toured the school and saw some of those issues firsthand, with old pneumatic things. But what was most interesting to me was we had 200 some comments from the community on our survey. I'll hit on that a little bit. Facilities group met and they went through all these priorities, and then we were talking about the fiscal side of all this, right? And when you look at all that, it's kind of interesting to me how I thought this might be all over the place for fixing the junior senior high. It was really fairly narrowed down by all the groups, even the students, by the way. So we'll keep going. So we had 33 members who spent, probably said 16 hours, but I think it was more. We actually toured another school district, and we went through and evaluated the professional data that was given to the school and the school board based on what the engineers saw in the school. So they assessed all that, talked about educational needs. You get the picture. We went through quite a bit. We met with staff multiple times and students. We really wanted to hear what they thought needed to be fixed in the school. This is where I thought it was. Well, I tell you, we have some wonderful kids in our district, because this wasn't like way over the top things. This was really like, hey, we need to fix the bathrooms. We need to fix doorways. We need to fix heating in all these areas of the school. And I was like touched by the kids. They're fabulous. It wasn't all these fancy things. That was the actual survey that went out to everyone. This is just a general overview. It doesn't show necessarily all the work, but it's basic in terms of conceptual floor plan. Many of you know about that in front of the school. We have plenty of issues starting right there. We have a concession stand with a water main, goes right through the backside of the concession stand, so that's cut about half almost in use. And if you go back that floor plan, just sorry for one second, there's numbers 1, 2, and 3. The work that we're at least showing right now would be 3 major restroom remodels. Even though there's more restrooms in the school, these are completely, it was great to have Adam Sellers with us, by the way. I mean, Adam in his chair and things, a wonderful guy. He went on this tour, couldn't even go to a lot of these places. That just tells you right there. And when you get a threshold of X amount of dollars, I have it somewhere out there, if you're going to improve your school, X amount of construction dollars based on square feet, you have to then automatically get ADA things improved. So we're already at that stage. So great to address it now, right? And this wouldn't be the only area. There's exit doors, other doors that maybe get up to ADA compliance. And one thing that's not shown here, sorry to walk up here. Oh, I brought this. This is, let's see. Lord. So sewage will run, all this will get torn out. It's all 1967, 68 sewage, and we'll tear all that out and run that through the building, which that'll get on to the next stop. So what are the themes that came out of this? There's nothing been decided in terms of actual design, but what are the themes? If you go to our elementary school now, we have a full, what they would call a person trap or a man trap. So when you walk into elementary school now, it's unfortunate, it's part of the world we live in now. If you walk into elementary school, you're gonna get buzzed in, and before you get buzzed in, you have to use your card. Your card will show, it'll run against the sex registered offenders list between 8:30 and the end of the day. You know, basically the secretary can look and say, it's almost like red light, green light. So then it'll print off a ticket, so if your green light come in, they'll buzz you in, you can have this, it says exactly why you're there, the date, and everything. Okay, and students have to be taught, we don't just kick doors open for people anymore. Point them around the backside, come in the right way. And so we do a lot of that work these days. It doesn't fix every issue, obviously. There's so many issues in the world, as we all know. But we're trying our best to keep kids safe. So the high school would have a very similar one. The problem with the high school is it requires us to redo that entry area with the student services, the main office, because it's all going to be impacted. So when you walk in, you're basically there until you get buzzed in, and then you're in the office before you can even get into the school. And that is the model that should be done these days. We'll also kind of have to look, if we can, bidding and things to the back of the school, maybe do a similar type of thing in the back. So we have 2 entries like that. And fire alarm, I know some of my board members, I know Adam's here, but almost every other week, it meets code, put our fire alarm there, kind of like the elementary one that's now been completely replaced with a modern system. It defaults and has weird things happening to it every other week. So we're dealing with that thing, and it needs to be replaced at some point, so that's part of this. I already mentioned about NDA, and there's an example. I mentioned about the gentleman that came in and said, that's the same, I think that's the exact room. And so that next one was, the same ventilator units are in there. So the design, at least tentative design would be, those would all come out to create a little more floor space for our classrooms, and there would be more corner ventilation units that would be in those rooms to allow better. All the pneumatics to all these, about half of them don't work. And there's no replacement pieces for some. So we are where we are. So the gym is another area. A lot of back and forth between the community, but a lot of people said, hey, if you were going to put anything with cooling, dehumidification, that would be the gym. And all of you know, if you've been in there in summertime and things, that floor gets slick and greasy and it's very hot. I know Mr. Crawford the other day, back a week ago, stopped the volleyball game twice because they have a reader now for temperature and humidity that gives them calculations. So it's so hot in there that we probably need to address that a little bit. And that would also be tied into the small gym. There'll be some ventilation work to the small gym as well. New water heaters. If you go to the elementary school now, that looks nothing like that, okay? It's all updated, all modern, 3-phase electric, and it's basically, you could, Jason, Mr. Shiflett, and myself can get on the laptop, the principals too, and get the temperature reading on every single room. And so every single room used to be 15, 16 degree difference, sometimes high schools like that, and we have with rooms within 4 to 5 degrees all the time now. So new energy management. Plumbing and restrooms, there's just, as you guys know, it's just 60-year-old stuff. It needs to be replaced, and we have a lot of issues there, lots of calls to get things cleaned up. Anytime you work in a school that's 65 years old, we definitely are going to run into abatement issues. Okay, we have asbestos things, it's 90% sure, and some of that glue and some of that flooring. So once we start putting sewer lines through and fixing up those bathrooms, I guarantee you, it'd be shocking if we didn't have to pay the cost of getting that abated. So, and then the other piece of this, and I should have pointed out on the old map, you don't have to go back to it, but one thing we've talked a lot about, and we gave feedback to the students as well. When you go into the high school, right, and the gym's off to your right as you're walking in, there's a concession stand to your left, depending which door you go in. When you look at the cafeteria, you have the trophy cases and things in there. One thing that Psychologic and the architects talked about is opening this up a little bit so you could actually have maybe a partition open up through there so you could actually have access into the lunchroom a little bit open, more visible. Also, it might give us some latitude, depending on what the state says, about using, instead of having the concession stand in that little teeny area where the main water comes in, actually just use the kitchen area. That's one of the goals we'd like to do. So you could just go in, use the kitchen that's all set up for concessions, and then come back. So we're not overspending on things, but we can make use of what we have. There are a lot of rules around using kitchens, so I got to look into that. If you're wondering, well, what, up to $9.9 million, it all depends on this. We would not exceed that. 56% of that, the way it's estimated out, would be for mechanical and heating and ventilation. That's all the classrooms, all the down in the boiler room getting upgraded, 18% is school safety and security, 17% electrical plumbing. Restrooms would be, they're very expensive, but restrooms would be 8% of this total project. And then I mentioned about like the programming, there might be some lunchroom areas, might be some technology pieces that run the building, and the control system for all the HVAC. So, in the end, the referendum proposes a bond of $9.9 million, which would be repaid over 20 years. However, every repayment could possibly refinancing opportunities arise. Also, you should know that most bond referendums that have passed in a school, for schools, basically like a $2.70 bond referendum, if you think about we can't control assessed valuations, right? So I'm going to share with you about tax impact. We can't control that, but what we can control is our expenses, revenues, try to control some of that a little bit, and that's what I'm talking about our tax rate right now. But if you think about the $2.70 tax rate, that will slowly, because of assessed valuations typically go up, sorry to tell all of this, but assessed valuations go up, that means that will slowly drop over time. A lot of times, like a $2.70 assessed valuation will actually be going down to $2.50 in a few years, then it'll drop to $2.30, then it'll drop to $1.90, slowly, of your total percentage of your tax rate, because it's based on how much you need to generate on an assessed valuation. Now, if assessed valuations decided they were declining for some reason, it doesn't happen a lot, right? But if they were declining, the 270 is the set rate, if that makes sense. So lots of things back and forth. The only thing I will tell you that people are, you don't have to click on it, but you can literally get a very detailed tax impact chart. It's on our website. If someone asked me in the old days, when someone asked me, Mr. Gavin, can I come in and have you help me calculate my ag land or help me calculate this? I would sit down and try to do it. Danger with that is, what if you made a mistake and they're sitting here telling people, well, he told me this and this. This is, you can enter yourself. You have a bit, so if you have a house that's $250,000 in value, this tax would be a $25.60 basically a month tax to be able to have us improve the school and get this work done. It's about $307 a year. So you can see here, and then the ag valuations, they can actually go right in there and calculate their ags. One thing that we all have to remember, this is assessed valuations, not market evaluations. Every time I've ever done this, superintendent, somewhere out there just before an election, somebody puts out all these notes about, that's not true with my calculations. And they were doing about their market value. And they forgot to put the rollback in. So this calculator does all of that for you. And that's the state's calculator, not the district's calculator for doing that, okay? Let's go to the next one now. Also, I know with our ag community being such a great part of our community, it's great that they can go out and look at all the steps to be able to do that as well. Not just Kevin saying there's a calculator, there's actually the steps that they can go through to calculate ag cost. You can even run it through the average cost for Kika County land, or for ag land. It's usable ag land, by the way. Or you can also do it by just entering what you have to your total acreage and that percentage. Every year, no matter what, every year, at least 4 or 5 times, someone will say, by the way, I don't want to be taxed either. Someone will say to me, Mr. Adler, every time I talk to you, you guys always have your hand out your tax notes, right? Well, if you look at the way our school board the last 8, 10 years has been running, we have tried very hard to not do that. If you look at our total tax, and this, sorry, we'll try this. So that, if you go back about 12, 13 years ago, that's $17 and basically 70 cents per $1,000 of assessed valuation. That was being assessed, taxed, levied by the school district, and I hate to say this, wasn't building anything, it was just maintenance, right? And so that number, if you look at that, maybe someone told me, well, that's when we should have been fixing it. Well, it is what it is, we're here, we're going. But I give the boards over time a lot of credit. So if you look in the last 4 or 5 years, we've really worked hard to run very efficient as we possibly can on our taxes. Schools are 80-85% personnel, right? You look at a school budget, we got to have the people teaching kids, right? And I sometimes have someone say, well, that's, why don't you just reduce 4 or 5 people? I would walk with you and let me know. You tell me who we're going to reduce. Okay, and we'll walk through and see how that goes, because IEPs are driven for teachers that have to be in the building. All these things are part of this process, okay? So anyhow, I think we've done a really good job of managing resources. We have 2 open houses coming up. We'd like to invite anybody, tell anyone. We'll get the notes out several times to the public. Open house number 1, we'll have just an overview, quicker maybe than this. And then we have Matt Gillespie, at least on Zoom, and he will use the Iowa's most pronounced expert on everything in school finance. You can ask any questions you want, and we'll give a tour. Okay, so that'll happen the 15th and the 22nd. And then, you know, we're really going to try to hit the social media here. You can go out to the website and you can scan that QR code. It'll take you right out to the website. The website's fully laid out for every reference question you have. There's even a spot like, hey, I read this, and you can put your name in there and we'll just try to respond. So we have a lot there. Sorry, that's really fast view of it all, but I want to be respectful of your time. Grateful questions, anything off the top.
So if you're going to tear up the sewer, you're going to tear out the floors, obviously. Any impact to the school schedule?
Yeah. The picture I have for this type of project would be the type of phase work they would do. So let's say that this would pass, and let's say that we're in the design phase for probably 8-9 months to get things really laid out. Then things go out to bid. So the quickest would be is like the following summer, not next summer, but the following. And that phase work would probably be, like you're mentioning, Gary, take the back of like the sewer into the bathrooms. That might be sections that are done where students will not be able to go into for a while. And I'm kind of giving Shannon, Mrs. Webb, lots of heads up. Like, that could happen. So like you're only going to be able to go to certain areas, students, for a while. But they'll manage it logistically, and it's where, of course, restrooms are available and things. But yes, I anticipate section of that school being almost quarantined, if you will, until work's done. Provided it passes. And this isn't Kevin's bond, it's not our school board's bond, it's now the community's bond. Your schools, you have a decision to make. Anything else on that, Ashley? There might be one more thing. Just invite, and the board wanted me to remind everybody to show up or vote, do what you feel is right. Any other thoughts?
Any questions for Kevin? If not, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, discussion of possible decision regarding disposition of dog owned by Larry and Shannon Stevens on 1007 West Spring as a result of a dog encounter. Okay, who wants to start?
I'll start. And I'll just read, I'm going to read the email that I sent Ashley, which she forwarded on to Doug. This is on Wednesday, September 10th at approximately 3:25 p.m. I was walking, I'm Steve Shuttler, 905 West Spring. Was walking our 2 small older dogs, Hank and Stella, on leashes on the west side of our residence, 905 West Spring, Sigourney. We take this route quite often, walking along the yard between our house and the Stevens' house, who live directly to our west. As we were walking, the Stevens' dog Nugget came charging around the house, as he has done before, and this time attacked Stella, our nearly 14-year-old dog. He lifted her off the ground while biting her ear and face area on the right side of her head. This attack left 2 visible puncture wounds that I attached pictures to on the email. And although the wounds didn't look like much, Stella, who's mostly blind and deaf, quickly deteriorated over the next few hours and passed away while we pulled into the Keota Veterinary Clinic at about 7 p.m. An autopsy was done, and it was showed that she died from internal bleeding from being jostled around. As mentioned, this isn't the first time that Nugget has charged our dogs, and he repeatedly has come onto our property while doing so. Recently made contact with our other dog, Hank, in a similar fashion, but didn't leave any lasting marks. Now, to their credit, they do have a shock collar underground fence system set up. I have no idea if it's turned on at all times or if his shock collar contains him or not, because as I mentioned, he has been crossed over into our property several times. and I've never seen Nugget on a leash ever. Stacy and I have kind of gone back and forth, and this is an emotional topic because, as do the Stevens, our dogs live inside with us. Having Stella for 14 years, she's a family member to us. So, and if you're a dog person, you probably understand that more than if you're not. But Stacy's been a little bit more forgiving than I am on this topic, and we were going, and I'll let Stacy talk if she wants to. She was willing to let Nugget stay. We had expressed this to Doug Bland and to the Stevenses. If a fence was put up or a kennel to keep him in check. But Shannon, you had posted or shared a post about Nugget earlier today about being the sweetest dog, and that just, given the situation, I just thought that was a slap in the face. So I myself, and I'm speaking for myself, would not feel safe for our dogs with Nugget in our neighborhood. We've enjoyed Stevenses as our neighbors, and hopefully that can continue, but I would like to see Nugget removed from our neighborhood after the incident. It's a busy street. Obviously, it leads to the park and to the pool and the ball field, so that's how I see it.
I'm just going to read the email that I sent to Doug earlier today. Try not to get emotional. So I had emailed Doug this morning and said, I'm writing regarding the recent incident in which our dog Stella was attacked by our neighbor's dog Nugget and passed away. After careful consideration, we would like to rescind our original request for city action, provided that the following steps are taken to ensure the safety of all pets and people in the neighborhood. This has been a heartbreaking situation for us. Larry and Shannon Stevens have been good neighbors, and we value our relationship with them. At the same time, our concern is that Nugget can be reactive and has on several occasions crossed into our yard up to our basement door despite his shock collar or his in-ground fence. His attack on Stella was unprovoked, and she was on a leash. Our only goal in this matter is to prevent another incident like this from happening to anybody else. We respectfully request that this be considered on the stipulation that Nugget is contained at all times within a secure physical fence or kennel. This condition would be necessary for our peace of mind as well as the safety of any other pets and neighbors. If these measures are not put in place, we would reserve the right to revisit this matter with the council. We are hopeful this resolution would allow us to move forward with safety for everyone, respect, and peace in the neighborhood. So our concern, of course, is safety of our animals, and God forbid, a child. I think that a scared dog is a reactive dog, and Nugget has barked, as long as he's lived there. It's heartbreaking because I can't imagine if it was my dog being asked to be removed. So I just want them to know that we do take that into consideration. Sorry.
We had a public safety meeting on this last night. Adam, do you want to?
You want to talk?
Oh, okay.
Ashley, can you play a PowerPoint if we have it on the projector?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I am deeply sorry that this happened. I know how they feel. We've had dogs put down, and it is a horrible thing to have to go through, and I feel very deeply sorry for them. I also like to apologize for the post that was put out there. if it made you feel that way.
No,
It
not
was
at all.
not the intent.
Claire, it's Claire's dog, she made, I just shared it, I was not trying to do anything like that, I'm sorry.
So that's our dog. He's a 6-year-old Labradoodle. He's been our family pet for 6 years. Typically, he's not aggressive. He's normally skittish of people. But we put an underground fence in because as a bigger dog, we felt he needed room to roam. And that was the easiest way to go about it at the time.
Probably some of the contention is our property line. I think that
As far as where this occurred that night, I mean, other times, it's possible he crossed the line. Batteries go dead in the shock collars. They inadvertently get forgotten to be put back on after he leaves the property. Those kinds of things do happen. I guess it was never brought to our attention that this had happened numerous times. I guess as good neighbors, I would have thought that would have been brought up as well, that, you know, your dog was in our yard to let us know so we could try to do something about that as well.
yeah.
I guess when I got back, I was working on the front of the house that day, so Nugget was outside in front with me. He takes off around the house because he knows he can't go to the east. The fence is there, he just doesn't go that way. So he always runs all the way around the house. So I'm sure he was going as fast as he can possibly run. When Steve and the dogs were out, you know, it's possibly crossed the line and got to the dog. I don't know, I wasn't there. Steve was the only one that was there. I was up front and came back there as soon as I heard the commotion. Typically, he does not cross the fence. I've never seen him go across the street into the park. As far as, you know, the neighbors being in fear, our neighbors come over and play with him. And Charlie, a second grader, will throw his ball, and she knows that if it goes too far to the north, that she's going to have to go get the ball because he will not go and get it. And I guess I don't know where this happened. And I think that, to me, is a very important part of it. If it was on my property or their property, that's a blurry line, I don't know. I guess, you know, I know the assessor's picture is not for actual physical lines, but I also know that Dick Darnay put that shed up, and I can guarantee you that it's as close to the property line as he could have got it when he built the building. But that's where I guess I believe the line is, and where this incident occurred, I don't know. I guess those are some pictures of.
So this is the neighbor to the other side, the day after the incident. If you click on the picture to the right, it's actually a video. But this dog is the gentlest dog. You can give it a piece of cheese and put it inside his mouth and he's not going to bite. So I understand he does bark at the dogs. If you give me a dog that never barks at the neighbor's dogs, that'd be perfect, but it's not ideal. And you can literally ask anybody else in town and they will not say they have ever seen Nugget be aggressive. And I do know he barks at you guys all the time, and I wish he didn't. I think it's a territory thing and the other dog thing, but typically he does not cross that fence. So, I mean, and I don't know what happened this time. That is not in his nature whatsoever.
argue that and say anybody want to bring their dog right up next to the property line and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's left.
We are willing to put a fence up between our two properties to make sure this never happens again. Like I said, as far as him ever running around town or anything like that, that to my knowledge has never happened. If he crosses the line, he comes back fairly quickly. And I guess the bottom line down there is the fact that if our dog leaves town, we're leaving town. That's just the way it is. That's how much we love our dog, and we aren't giving it up that easy.
I mean, and if we truly thought he was a menace or a harm, we would do the right thing, but we honestly do not at all. And we do have statements from,
So are you disagreeing that he bit? Shepard's
no, I
dog?
don't know. We haven't been provided with that. I'm not gonna say he didn't. I don't know.
I'm just trying to
Yeah,
figure out,
no.
because
No.
I've seen the word never, and then I've seen typically, you've said typically. Those are not the same things. And I'm just trying to figure out.
We've never seen it happen. That's all I can say. Never seen it.
But you're also not calling Steve a liar because he
No,
witnessed it.
of course not.
No, so it wasn't like another animal came onto the property and attacked Steve's dog.
No.
And your dog was just there watching. Okay. So it's not in question, your dog.
No.
Your dog killed a shepherd's dog. So are you guys?
Let's just go with bit, and not worry about any connections.
It's not on cause. Okay. Pretty good. Yeah. So the Public Safety Committee did meet last night. We discussed this. We didn't have PowerPoint or Stacy's letter. Looking at our ordinances, it's clear that this incident it classifies Stevens' dog as an animal nuisance. Any dog that attacks or interferes with persons or domestic animals. So that's laid out in animal nuisances, and that shows a civil penalty. So that's not really in question. The question that is in front of the council is, does the city council deem this as a dangerous animal? Because if the council deems it as a dangerous animal, then our code clearly states that you cannot keep a dangerous animal within the city limits. So then, if the council deems that it is a dangerous animal, then he will have to be removed. We, at the Public Safety Committee, wanted to bring that in front of the entire council for discussion and a possible vote.
Actually, you have access to the code language. Sorry.
You have it on your phone? I don't get it.
It is in front of us.
So if you go to, so if you go to 4-1-4, under animal nuisances, sub 3, it says causes a disturbance by excessive barking or other noise making or chasing vehicles, molest, attacks, interferes with persons or domestic animals. So I don't think that's in question here.
And that doesn't have a restriction concerning whether it's across the street.
There is nothing in our ordinances that say that where it took place. So then you bump over to section 4-1-8, dangerous animals, and then down to 2C. And that states any animal declared to be dangerous by the city council. So that's the question that we have in front of us.
But
today.
you also have to look at number 2, definition A. So any animal which is capable of killing, inflicting serious injury, just add 2.
It really falls under 2C, because 2A states any animal which is not naturally tame or gentle. And I don't think we're arguing that the dog is naturally tame or gentle. So I think it falls more under C, 2C, which, with the events that took place, does the city council deem that the dog is a dangerous animal? This is a tough situation.
Because between one neighbor that will or won't move, or the other neighbor that will or won't move, because apparently they're not communicating and getting along very well in this. So if we kick the dog out, they fall out. If we leave the dog, they may not want to stay.
We plan to move either way, whether it's in the city limits or outside the city limits. That's our intent right now. We would like to move within the city limits. But if we can't do that, then we move outside of the city limits.
And what happens
Well,
if
I
there's
guess-
another dog?
In my mind, that decision does not fall on us. We should make our decision based on whether they're moving or not.
I know, but it's gonna end up, they are going to perceive it as either we're siding with them or we're siding with them, whether we're just enforcing the code or not. And so I just bringing that up. I'm not gonna argue that it's tame or gentle and that it's nice to whatever. I'm just concerned about what control there is when the battery's torn down, when you're in the front yard or it's in the backyard, or the color just doesn't go on. I mean, I can be swayed either way.
Sorry?
Physical fence should be discussed a little more.
And again, is that really the
We
city
don't have an ordinance
council's?
for that.
No, it's not.
That's not our, we can't make a decision based on, well, we will not remove it as long as they put a fence up. I mean,
This is not say under such person's control, that to me would be the offense.
And then if we declare it to be a dangerous animal, then they can either leave it there, and we would file a complaint against them if they could argue in the courthouse, or if they could move, we give them time to move it.
Yeah,
And that's what we normally do with Spencer is, we have so many days to get this out, if it stays, whatever.
so when we changed, so we changed this ordinance, if you remember, was it last year, 2 years
Late
ago?
last year, yeah.
We changed the keeping of vicious dogs or cats. That's section 419. And we did that because we had multiple incidents where dogs attacked people unprovoked. And we wanted to create an ordinance that we wouldn't have to do this. It was set in our ordinances that if this happens, these are the consequences. Well, in that ordinance, we didn't add domestic animals because we were geared towards people getting attacked by animals. We didn't want, our children riding bikes or walking, getting attacked. So that would be something also that could be taken back to public safety to where we could incorporate into our vicious animal ordinance, not only attacking or biting people, but and/or domestic animals. So it's laid out. If this happens, this is the consequences.
I agree, but the way it's written today, it's animal on person,
Yep.
which I think
Would not-
takes it out of 4-1-9.
Yes.
I don't think we have a choice there.
No.
We can take up separately whether we want to amend the ordinance, which means it falls then, as you pointed out, under 4-1-4,
Yes.
which doesn't, I don't believe, I'm just checking the language, I don't think it calls,
No, it just calls for a civil penalty of,
calls for a civil penalty, but not removal, I don't believe.
not on that. But where the removal would come in is if we tonight vote that the Stevens' dog is a dangerous animal.
Yes, yes. And that's because of the way it's written in 4-1-8C.
Yes.
So that becomes the decision, I think. Is the Stevens' dog dangerous? If it's classified dangerous, then the decision is made. If it's not classified dangerous, then the decision goes the other way. It's just a civil fine.
So, I know there's been a back and forth on this matter, there's been communication before we came in here and sat down this evening, the public safety's talked about it. I guess the shepherds have asked for the dog to be removed, is that correct? I know you had, there was something about a letter to rescind that. I don't think you can rescind it once you ask for it. Okay? If it's a written request, it's been submitted, the city is aware of it. I don't think you can rescind that.
Based on other conversations we've had on other matters, I hadn't thought about that, but I think you're correct. Once it's brought to our attention.
Unless the attorney asks for it to be rescinded, and that's not what we're dealing with here.
No, I think you make a good point.
And then what would be the liability on the cities if we know of a problem, we go the other way and another incident happens, can we be held liable?
I'm no lawyer, but based on what we've been told in other circumstances by legal counsel, the answer is we would be liable. There'd be no defense.
I would hate to be walking my grandchildren's dog and have it attacked. That would be very traumatic on them.
And this is a really difficult situation. I really don't like this, but I think we're obligated to interpret the ordinance as it's written. I don't think we've got a choice. We've been down this road a couple of other times.
Several times. We've tried to be consistent with the matter. I didn't favor the rewriting of the ordinance. You may recall, because I didn't feel like you could outline every circumstance. Before, if a dog had attacked in some fashion, it pretty much was, it's got to be removed. I know now we're looking at a situation where the attack is on, is this another person? Is this another animal? Is it, is it a vicious dog? Is it by definition and all that? And there's nothing that comes before us that's more awkward than this. Because we're going to make somebody unhappy. So it does boil down to the safety. And everybody who's ever been in here before with a dog that's got a problem in some fashion, the PowerPoint pretty well outlines the position of the people that own the dog. It's their dog. 99.9% of the time it seems to be well behaved, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about 0.1% that has brought it before the city council. So,
One comment I'd like to make, being either on the council or mayor for the last 9 years, every time we have something like this come up where there's a question which way to go, the decision's always gone with what's written, vicious dog has to go. Because as soon as you make an exception for one, then how do you go about making a decision on the next time? And I know there's been a couple of dogs since I've been here, at least 2, that have gone through this and that they have been removed from the city because we weren't going to allow exceptions. And I know that's something we've struggled with before when we have these ordinances. And how can you make an exception for one and then say that this is our ordinance? You have to be consistent. I mean, my heart goes out to you. Okay, I've got 2 dogs that I walk, and I certainly wouldn't walk them past your house at this point. And I know that appears to be a very loving dog, but it was still a vicious attack.
You were saying dangerous under 1.8.
Yes, it
And
is.
you're talking vicious under 1.9.
Right.
Not what,
This is not,
Not the
this
question
doesn't fall
we
under
asked.
the vicious animals. The decision in front of us tonight is if, from what we've heard tonight, are we deeming this, the Stevens' dog, as a dangerous animal? Because if we are, then our ordinance says it shall be removed from town.
And it says dangerous, not vicious.
Yes.
So what's the proper procedure? We have to make a motion so we can vote.
Yes.
Make a motion that it is or is not deemed to be.
Well, somebody has to move one way or the other.
and regardless of whether we determine the dog is dangerous, they could still be cited for.
The nuisances.
We have to be consistent.
Well, to be consistent with our city ordinances, I would make a motion to deem that the Stevens' dog is deemed to be dangerous, and because of that, shall be removed from the city limits within the next 14 days.
Is that your motion?
And notifying the city clerk or Doug as to when and where the dog was taken.
I'd second that motion.
Schultz,
yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad,
No.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Litz, no.
So it passes 4-2, is that right? I'm sorry, I'm with you. Our dogs are like kids.
Let's go on to the next one, please.
Yes. Discussion of possible approval of resolution number 2024-09-24, tax increment financing, Sigourney Belvedere Inn urban renewal, 54002, section 403.19 certification.
So, my apologies, I only attached the resolution. So, I'm asking, underneath our fifth program for Belvedere Ringgold Street project, there are invoices that we can submit into the urban renewal and over time get that money back. So for that one, it's $63,000 that I'll be submitting into the state auditor, to the auditor's office, to have them put it on taxes over a period of time. It's not going to raise anybody's taxes or anything.
Motion to approve resolution number 2024-09-24, tax income financing, Sigourney Belvedere.
Oh, my paper does say 2025, but this does not appear. But this the next one.
It should be.
Yeah, sorry, 2025-09-24.
Okay.
And my resolution does say that.
I amend my,
And Harry seconded?
Yes, sir.
Schultz,
yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad,
Yes.
McLaughlin. Yes. Oostbaker.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
The next one, resolution says 2025-0925. This one is for a new TIF district that you guys did in 2022 for the Catalyst grant, the upper story grant, and the facade grant. We could go back through all the invoices that were brought to the city, and if we didn't receive money from the grant programs, we could submit that in and potentially get money back. It takes a long time to get the amount that I'm submitting back, but that one is around $25,000 for the downtown urban renewal plan.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-09-25.
Second.
Schultz,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad,
Yes.
McLaughlin. Yes. Oostbaker.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Item E has been removed from the agenda. Item F, Keokuk County Economic Development, KCED report. Gary?
So just a few things to mention. Farmers Market has 2 more weeks left. The last event will be for the kids, so the kids can set up booths for free. Work is proceeding on the raffle. It's casino night in the raffle. We're looking at having, we're actually investigating the costs associated with having a professional service come down to run some gaming tables, which will hopefully make the event a little bit more interesting for people. Ladies Night Out planning proceeds. In both the case of the raffle and Ladies Night Out, we've got people out recruiting sponsors for the events so that we have prizes and things for people to do. The Keokuk County Child Care Network today received its tax exempt status letter from the IRS. So we have been operating as a nonprofit, now it's official. So that was a major step forward. We've got donations coming in at a relatively steady pace. So far we've accumulated over $30,000, and we're working toward opening this school year. We're working on setting a date, but because of some rules related to early childhood in Iowa, the clock is ticking, so it's going to have to be soon. This is not a commitment, but no later than January. So watch for posts. We're actively putting information out on Facebook and on other social media. And then the final report has to do with the Boost strategic plan. as I think you know, we designed the signs. I sent the sign package into Iowa Prison Industries. They reviewed it, and in their opinion, it conforms to Iowa Department of Transportation requirements. So the next step will be to give them actual dimensions, and from that, they will give us an estimate for cost. And I'm going to get measurements. We're going to go, we have one of our people tasked with going out and doing some measurement on existing signs in Kelowna and other places so that we can sort of match the dimensioning there. And just as a reminder, each one of the signs will have the Sigourney logo on the crest, and they will all be in what I've pronounced to be Sigourney blue. So I think that's it. Yes.
Thank you, Gary. Park and Recreation, I show nothing there. Street and Sanitation, we need to set a Street and Sanitation Committee meeting.
And how soon do we want that?
Whenever works for you.
Next couple of weeks are coming. Is there any urgency to get any of the topics that we can cover?
I mean, we need to get a snow removal, either an ad or a seasonal employee, something put together so we can get out there. Unfortunately, we need to talk about the dumpster permit and some questions that have arose because of it. But we need to address it. So sooner rather than later, yes.
So Gary, you said that the next couple of weeks.
Well, it's
Gary's not.
Randy, Ed, and Connie. So whenever works for you, 3:30 and usually.
A week from today.
Is that the 23rd?
Monday.
No.
We don't have a council meeting until
October
1st. Could we do it the 29th, 30th, whatever?
Sure.
Because
What day is that? 29th?
Monday or Tuesday.
I think that's for Monday.
6 o'clock.
Okay,
Monday,
29th,
Monday the 29th.
6 o'clock. Works for me.
Okay.
That's 6 o'clock. Okay. Water and wastewater, I show nothing. Public safety. Discussion of possible approval of first reading of ordinance, Title 3, Public Order, Safe and Health, Chapter 14, Unlawful Occupation of Public Property.
Well, the Public Safety Committee has met on situations of trying to clean up our square and surrounding areas. For many meetings, we've listened to the public, we've heard from the public. There's actually even the public at our Public Safety Committee meetings giving input. So in front of you is an ordinance that we would like to move forward with. It's pretty much, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it is to basically deem that any public property which is owned by the city of Sigourney, we're prohibiting camping, sleeping, loitering, or any kind of obstruction in those areas. We also are wanting to deem the Sigourney Square District. So that Sigourney Square District would encompass the square and a half block out in each direction. And that's laid out in this ordinance. We just, like I already said, we don't want any camping, sleeping, loitering, on public property and in the square district. And a violation of that would be a civil penalty, not less than $25, not more than $50. Attached to this ordinance, we deem that anywhere in the square district, you have to leave a minimum of 5 feet of sidewalk clearance to be maintained for pedestrian use. So I guess let me backtrack. So that would be obstruction of sidewalks. So that would mean that no person shall place, store, or leave any object on a public sidewalk in the city except as provided if we deem them a business exception, which would be any of the businesses located in compliance with the city zoning or our regulations. They would still be allowed to place items on their storefront just so long as they leave a minimum of 5 feet of sidewalk clearance, and we deem that's ADA compliant for anybody that can move freely and use the sidewalk. And around the square district, we also included in this ordinance restricting parking area. So anywhere in the square district, there will be no parking between the hours of 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. We've typically done that, was it like on Sundays? I think we used to, for street sweeping, and we got to do it in the wintertime to remove snow. This just deems at 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. every day, there's no parking on the square. I talked to one business owner that owns a bar. We made sure to think about that. If their hours are till 2 in the morning, we wanted to give them a lot of time to let their patrons leave. I don't think there's really anything else. Questions, concerns?
So if someone lives in the square district?
So if you go around all 4 sides of the square, there's parking everywhere. We have a city parking lot right here. On the east side, there's a parking lot that County Bank owns that they allow people to park in. There's parking behind on the south side, and there is also parking on the north side.
So are there some units that I mean, there are some of the units that don't have their own parking, right? Some of the housing units?
Not that are finished. I think there might be some unfinished apartments that don't have parking. But I think
All occupied
have parking.
have parking outside the square district?
Back here.
On the back of the building.
Above abstract,
Yeah, there's parking behind
Yeah,
here.
they park.
behind the building.
When you say half a block, we're just talking about the city street, right? I mean, because that's technically within a half a block.
Yeah, just on the city streets,
On
one
the
half
city
block.
street.
Yeah, there's off-street parking available, I think is the point.
Well, I think they need to be able to park somewhere that's not across town. But I'm just checking to see if that's, if we're gonna have a room full of people on the next council meeting because we're taking away the parking spots, so.
We don't think so. We think, we inventoried the parking spots when we were talking about it.
Okay. Well, I hope so. Because I thought it was a little extreme when I read it, so, just saying.
Well, we're entering a territory, we're enforcing, we've had a couple of events here where we're enforcing the letter of the ordinance. Right?
Trying.
We're trying to. And so you're gonna annoy people.
Boy, I'm not concerned about that.
5 feet unobstructed.
That's
So
not,
you're basically going from the curb,
Yes.
and if I just happen to have an awning, there's in place, in
So-
between there.
So we discussed that. I don't know what the address is, but it is the old Coast to Coast building on the south side of the square. We discussed that. We didn't do any, I guess, we didn't include that in the ordinance. But I think within the minutes, when we do this, I think it was
'Cause I thought it's-
decided that, we're not, that would be grandfathered in, but if there's any modification, redone or whatever, then they would have to abide by the ordinance. The intent of this ordinance is not to pick on or upset our business owners. It's just to help them out, one, and to clean up our square.
I understand.
And as for the parking, is it the city's responsibility to provide free parking to building owners that rent their buildings out for living? Is it?
Well, they don't bother me as much as some of this garbage sitting in the city parking lot going on through. So, you asked. So,
I'll drive through at about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I encourage you. This was, and again, this was an ordinance that the 3 committee members on the public safety didn't say, you know what can we do? This is listening to the general public. This is what they want. All right.
Any discussion?
No further questions?
I'd make a motion that we approve the first reading ordinance Title 3, Public Order, Health, Safety, and Health, Chapter 14, Unlawful Occupation of Public Property.
Second.
Schultz,
yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Postbaker,
Yes.
Lentz, yes.
Next, discussion and possible approval of first reading of ordinance Title 3, Public Order, Safety, and Health, Chapter 15, Hours of Operation for City-Owned Parks.
So, while doing ordinances, the public safety was looking at, and we were taking numerous complaints of people occupying our parks, camping, putting up big shelters and all that stuff. It was, we looked at it, we have a sign that says there's no, the parks close at 10:30, but we don't have an ordinance that specifies that. So we need to, so we felt can't enforce something if we don't have an ordinance. So this ordinance is for hours of operation for any city-owned parks. That would be Legion Park, Town Square Park, all city-owned sports parks, and any other real property owned by the city of Sigourney designated for public recreational use. And the hours of operation would be from 5 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. They would be closed from 10:30 p. to 5:30 a. And this also, does give leeway that if there are special events or anything like that, the city can grant permission for somebody to access the parks on those closed hours.
Right, comes through, we could say
Yes.
it's different.
Yep. No questions? I'd make the motion to approve the first reading of ordinance Title 3, Public Order, Safety, and Health, Chapter 15, Hours of Operation for City-Owned Parks.
Second.
Schultz,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conrad,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Postbaker,
Yes.
Lentz, yes.
Okay, Finance and Human Resources, I have nothing. City Clerk, notice of GS GASB statement number 77 letters.
I found out this week that or actually Friday, that I had reports to do that are due at the end of September. So I had to go over to the assessor's office to get a list of all tax abatements that the city, county have brought in to their office. And so they gave me that amount. I plugged it into a formula. This $44,000 is what the city did not get because of tax abatements. There's nothing for you guys to approve. It's just for your information.
Any questions? Okay, public input. Is there any public input?
Well, you made a statement to saying that you've got that free parking on the square, but how much money did we supply to put apartments in on the square? Was that free? Well, I mean, you gave grants for somebody that owns a building and fixed their buildings up, so now you're gonna say, well, you can have the apartments, but you can't have the place to park. It don't make any sense to me, but I don't know what I'm talking about at the time anyway, so.
There is parking behind the buildings.
Not on all of them.
Or is there an occupied building that does not have parking? We went around the square, it looked to us like there was off-street parking.
Well, you can't park there on Willard's buildings. You can't park in the fire station parking lot. And there's not enough parking there, you can be parking in the alley or whatever. So there's no parking there really for very many people to park. Over there on the north side of the square there's apartments over there. There's not really that much parking there. You can be parking on Memorial, right in there on that, and then you're gonna be parking. I really don't see how you can say you can't park on the street if you live in an apartment. It don't make any sense.
So I did talk to Woolers,
Mm-hmm.
and they would probably prefer for it not to be that way, but they do have parking. They indicated that there was a place to park.
Well, I just thinking I mean, you spend all this money to do all these apartments and fix up the square, and then the people's paying probably quite a bit to rent these apartments, but then you're saying, well, you can't park in front of them, or you can park down at the parking lot. Well, what, maybe they don't want to have to go out and move their car every night if it's a snowstorm or if it's raining. They like to be able to park and go right on up to their apartment.
So the motivation, is this something we could discuss, or is this something that
So we didn't respond.
I don't think we would, so I should stop.
I mean, rule-wise, we can't.
Rule-wise, I
we
think
can't
you're correct,
respond.
so I checked myself.
We can't take action.
But I don't know,
Anybody can respond?
it doesn't make much sense to me. I thought,
We could take that up in one of the committees,
okay.
and that's what this is for. It's information for us to discuss.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know what you're wanting to do is clean up the square of all of what's running around up there, but isn't there any ordinance on, like people just hanging around and not doing nothing, or can't you step on a couple of them and haul them out of here if they're causing problems? You can't?
Well, we need to move on.
I mean, there's an ordinance, if they're just up there standing around, is there anything on that for loitering or anything like that?
We can discuss it after.
We can discuss it.
Okay,
We
well,
can't get back and forth here.
We need to move on. Is there any other public input?
I just wanted to say thank you to the safety committee. I know you guys worked really hard on all of the concerns that we brought to you, so I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? If not, public input from the council. If not, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Schultz,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Sorry to hear about your dogs. We have to do it.
Can't you say you got curfew here?
You can't make a curfew for adults. Because, I don't know.
I know, but I know.